Good morning, class. Today we will be starting with excretory system. Now, a system is a collection of organs which perform a specific function. When we talk of excretory system is a collection of organs that will help in performing the function of excretion, which means formation of excretory substances, storage of excretory substances, and elimination of excretory substances. Now, what is excretion? Excretion is simply a process by which harmful, unwanted chemical substances, or let us say metabolic wastes, which are mainly nitrogenous wastes, are removed from the body. So this process of removal of nitrogenous waste from the body is called excretion, is termed excretion. Now, there are a lot of chemical reactions, metabolic reactions that are going on in the body. And a lot of substances are produced which are not needed by the body and have to be got rid of. These substances are carbon dioxide in water in the process of respiration. Then bile salts and bile pigments are produced by the breakdown of hemoglobin, of the red blood cells in the liver. Then extra water we consume in the form of beverages, water, all that water is not needed by the body. So the extra water has to be excreted, has to be removed. Then there are salts, sodium chloride mainly, sodium chloride, sodium ions and chloride ions have to be removed. Then although what I am going to tell you now is not a part of excretion, at the end of digestion, that is, all those undigested food materials that are produced also are not required by the body, undigested food, but that does not come under excretion because that is not nitrogenous in nature. But the body does not need it, we call it defecation. Removal of feces is defecation. That is also something which the body does not require, but it does not come under excretion. That is why we say removal of metabolic waste, chiefly nitrogenous in nature, is termed as excretion. So before I move on, let us just quickly summarize the definition of excretion. I told you excretory system. System is a collection of organs which are going to bring about excretion. Now, what is excretion? Excretion is the removal of unwanted, harmful, metabolic wastes which are chiefly or mainly nitrogenous in nature from the body. Now, another thing that I would like to point out over here, excretion is very important and is essential in maintaining a steady state in the body. Steady state is also called homeostasis. That is, all the substances in the body, be it glucose, be it water, be it salts or minerals, everything has to be kept at a steady state, and that state is called homeostasis. So excretion is an important process which helps to maintain homeostasis. Homeo means same. Stasis means conditions, same condition, what we say as steady state of substances in the body. Now, I just now told you the various metabolic wastes that are produced at the end of metabolism are substances like carbon dioxide and water. This is produced during respiration. Then substances like urea, uric acid and ammonia. These are a product of protein digestion. After protein is digested, the extra amino acids go to the liver. The production of these substances take place in the liver. The extra amino acids which are not required go to the liver. There they are broken down, and they are broken down into two parts. One is glucose, which can be reused as the usable form, and the others convert into urea, uric acid and ammonia. Now urea is a toxic waste. It is poisonous in nature and it has to be removed, otherwise its accumulation can even be fatal, that is, can lead to death. So urea is soluble in water, and urea dissolves in water, and the kidney removes the urea along with uric acid and ammonia. Ammonia is also highly soluble in water, but humans do not produce that much ammonia. Humans produce urea, and trace amounts of uric acid and ammonia are produced. So this mixes in water and the kidneys remove urea. Then the other substances not needed are some mineral salts. Then these are mainly sodium chloride, calcium ions, etc. Then we have the bile pigments and the bile salts that have to be removed. Now these bile pigments are again formed in the liver by the breakdown of hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is the coloring pigment of blood, and it carries oxygen. You have studied about hemoglobin in the previous classes. So this hemoglobin, which is contained in the red blood cells, you all know red blood cells have a fixed lifespan, and you've studied that in circulatory system, that RBCs have a lifespan of 120 days, and after that they are broken down in the liver, and in the liver the hemoglobin converts into bile pigments. These bile pigments, some of them are excreted with urine and some of them are excreted with feces. Just now I told you about defecation, removal of solid waste, that is undigested food matter, that also removes small amounts of bile pigments from the body. So these are the substances that have to be got rid of from the body, have to be removed from the body, otherwise they can be dangerous. They can lead to toxicity, or even sometimes if the toxicity increases, it can be dangerous for the person and a person can die also. So this is the basic concept of excretion. Now we will come to the excretory system. As I just now told you, system is a collection of organs. Now what are these organs? The excretory system is made up of one pair of kidneys. there are a pair of kidneys. These kidneys lead to tubes called ureters. So there is a pair of ureters, a pair of kidneys, a pair of ureters. Now these ureters open in a urinary bladder. Urinary bladder is a pear-shaped sac-like muscular organ. Urinary bladder. The urinary bladder opens to the outside by means of urethra. So these organs together make up the excretory system. Now kidneys. Kidneys are bean-shaped organs located in the abdominal cavity below the diaphragm. You know, the diaphragm is a muscular structure that divides the thorax from the abdomen. So just below the diaphragm there are a pair of kidneys which are bean shaped. The kidneys are about 10, size of kidneys is 10 centimeter by 6 centimeter. They are chocolate brown in color. They are bean shaped, located in the abdominal cavity, and they are covered by a double membrane called peritoneum. So and when I say they are bean shaped, there is a notch here. This notch of the kidney is called the hilum, and the ureters arise from the kidney in the hilum region. They have a broad funnel shaped structure which is called the renal pelvis and the ureter. So this is the location and the structure of the kidney, the shape of the kidney. Then I told you next is pair of ureters. So there are two kidneys. Now the left kidney is placed slightly higher than the right kidney. The reason is that on the right side a massive organ called the liver is there. So the position of the liver displaces the right kidney to a lower level. So the left kidney is higher than the right kidney, and these ureters open in a pear-shaped membranous sac, muscular sac, which will store the urine produced by the kidneys, and the mouth of the urinary bladder is supported by a sphincter. Sphincter means circular muscles, and this mouth is closed till the time of urination, till the bladder is full, and after that a signal goes to the brain and there is an urge of urination. We call it micturition, and at that time the sphincter muscles open and release the urine which passes to the outside through the urethra. Urethra is the passage of a tube-like structure which allows the passage of urine from the urinary bladder to the outside. Now I will draw the structure of the excretory system here first, and that will be easy for you to understand what I have explained just now. Now I just now told you in the abdominal cavity there are a pair of kidneys, two kidneys. Now there is a cap-shaped adrenal gland on the two kidneys. This adrenal gland is an endocrine gland. This does not come under excretion, but I am telling you about its location. It is placed above the kidney. This notch is called the hilum, and through the hilum the ureter leaves the kidney. This is the ureter, the funnel shaped. This ureter of each side opens into a pear-shaped muscular bag called the urinary bladder, sac-like structure called the urinary bladder, which is lined, supported by a sphincter here. This opens to the outside through the urethra. These are tube-like structures. The ureters are about 28 to 30 centimeter long. The kidney is 10 centimeter by 6 centimeter in size. These are the kidneys. So we can say kidneys are the chief or the main organ of excretion. They are the chief organs. So excretory system is composed up of a pair of kidneys, a pair of ureters, a urinary bladder, and the urethra. Now, urethra is a small tube, but in males it is long, say about 20 centimeter, and it passes through the penis. Whereas in females it is only 2.5 to 4 centimeter, small in size. Therefore, the females suffer easily from the urinary tract infections, what is abbreviated as UTI. Urinary tract infections are more common in females because the urethra is small. So the infection is easily taken up by the females. So this is about the excretory system. Now we come to the structure of the kidney. Each kidney, as I just now told you, is bean shaped. The notch is hilum. This kidney is divided into an outer cortex which has a dotted appearance. I will explain it to you just now why the appearance of the cortex is dotted, and the inner part is called the medulla. Now this medulla is striped in appearance. This notch is called hilum. From here arises the ureter. The broad funnel shaped part of the ureter is called the pelvis, so we call it the renal pelvis, and this is the portion, the hilum is the portion where the ureter and the renal vein. The renal vein also, suppose this is the renal vein. Renal vein brings, veins take blood away from an organ towards the heart. That is why I have drawn the arrow. It brings blood away from the kidney. So this renal vein leaves the kidney from the hilum, the ureter leaves the kidney, and the renal artery. Arteries are those blood vessels that carry blood towards any organ. So renal artery carries blood from the dorsal aorta to the kidney. Dorsal aorta is the main artery coming out of the heart, which is supplying oxygenated blood to the organs. So the renal artery is a branch of dorsal aorta. So renal artery enters the kidney at the hilum region and the renal vein leaves the kidney. The kidney is protected by a double peritoneum, double membrane called peritoneum. So this is the peritoneum covering the kidney, protective membrane, and it is divided into two regions. This portion is the pelvis of the kidney, the funnel shape. Now outer cortex is dotted and inner medulla is striped like this, forms striped regions like this, and these projections, these are called pyramids, and these projections in the kidney, the tip of the pyramid is called the papilla, and these are the pyramids. I will tell you the formation of the pyramids and the dotted appearance of the kidney, but this is the longitudinal structure of the kidney, how it appears in LS or longitudinal section. Now kidneys are, I am going to erase this, the excretory system. Now kidneys are made up of or they are composed up of uriniferous tubules. These urinary ferrous tubules are also called nephrons, or we also call them kidney tubules. Now these are actually, the urinary ferrous tubules are actually the structural and functional unit of kidneys, and each kidney contains about 1 million such tubules. Each kidney has 1 million uriniferous tubules or nephrons. That is why we say they are the structural and functional units of kidney. Now each kidney has 1 million, so overall there are 2 kidneys in the body, which means there are 2 million nephrons, and the entire blood is filtered in these urinary ferrous tubules. Now the structure of a urinary ferrous tubule. A urinary ferrous tubule basically is divided into 2 parts. One part is called the Malpighian corpuscle or Malpighian capsule, and the other part is called nephric tubule. Now this Malpighian capsule is made up of Bowman's capsule and a network of capillaries called the glomerulus. Network of capillaries. Now I will erase this and show you the structure of urinary ferrous tubules. Bowman's capsule is a cup-shaped structure like this, and this portion of the Bowman's capsule encloses a knot-like network of capillaries which are produced from the afferent arteriole. I just now told you the dorsal aorta breaks up into arteries which supply blood to the organ. So the renal artery arising from the dorsal aorta has smaller branches called arterioles. So the arteriole that enters the urinary ferrous tubule, the Bowman's capsule, is the afferent arteriole. This arteriole is called afferent arteriole, this one. And it forms a network and leaves the Bowman's capsule. The portion of the arteriole that leaves the Bowman's capsule is called efferent arteriole. A point to be noted here, the efferent arteriole is narrower than the afferent arteriole, and because of this a hydrostatic pressure will be created here and blood will be filtered from the glomerulus into the Bowman's capsule. Now you know arterioles is breaking up into capillaries, and a capillary is just lined by endothelium. Epithelium that lines the capillary, single layer of cells called endothelium. Same way, Bowman's capsule is also lined up by a single layer of cells, that is squamous epithelium. So filtration becomes easy. Blood is filtered from the network of capillaries into the lumen. This is the lumen of the Bowman's capsule. So this together, Bowman's capsule and glomerulus together, this structure is called the Malpighian capsule. Now coming to the nephric tubule. Nephric tubule has been divided into 3 parts. First part is called proximal convoluted tubule, which is abbreviated as PCT, proximal convoluted tubule. Second part is called loop of Henle or Henle's loop, and the third part is called distal convoluted tubule, abbreviated as DCT. So this is the Bowman's capsule. This Bowman's capsule leads into the proximal convoluted tubule, which then opens into the loop of Henle. Loop of Henle is a U-tube structure like this, like a hairpin loop, which opens into the distal convoluted tubule, and this then opens into the collecting duct. The collecting duct collects filtrate from several urinary ferrous tubules. These are openings of other urinary ferrous tubules. This is the collecting duct. This is loop of Henle. This is DCT, distal convoluted tubule. This is PCT, proximal convoluted tubule. Now, this efferent arteriole forms a network of capillaries all over the urinary ferrous tubule like this. Finally, forms a venule. These venules open into the renal vein, and as I just now showed you, the renal vein leaves the kidney from the hilum region. I had shown in the previous diagram, renal vein leaves the kidney, renal artery takes blood to the kidney. This is renal artery, arrow pointing towards the kidney, taking blood to the kidney. Renal artery breaks up into arterioles. This is the renal vein taking blood away from the kidney. Later on, it will join the inferior vena cava or the posterior vena cava, which will carry deoxygenated blood to the heart. So this is, now I told you that the outside is cortex, which shows a dotted appearance. The inside shows pyramids like this, which are striped. Now, if we consider the urinary ferrous tubule like this portion of the urinary ferrous tubule, this portion, that is the Bowman's capsule, the PCT and the DCT are present in the cortical region. This is the cortical region. That is Bowman's capsule, PCT and DCT are present here. And all these loop of Henle's and collecting ducts, you can see the striped appearance is because of these. So they are in the medulla. Is it clear? The board is small, but I have tried to explain each thing to you. I will explain it again. I just now told you that the kidney in its longitudinal section shows two parts, the outer cortex and an inner medulla. The cortex shows a dotted appearance and the medulla shows a striped appearance and forms pyramids that open in the pelvis. So the pyramid formation is because of loop of Henle and the collecting duct pointing to the located in the medulla region of the kidney. And the cortex or the cortical region of the kidney contains the Bowman's capsule and proximal convoluted tubule and distal convoluted tubule. Proximal convoluted tubule, distal convoluted tubule and Bowman's capsule or Malpighian capsule and glomerulus. Bowman's capsule and glomerulus makes up the Malpighian capsule. These are located in the cortical region of the kidney. So, to sum up, kidney is the chief organ of excretion, made up of structural and functional units called urinary ferrous tubules or nephrons. Each kidney has 1 million nephrons. Blood is filtered in the kidneys through these urinary ferrous tubules, and the urinary ferrous tubule is divided into distinct two regions. Malpighian capsule and nephric tubule. Malpighian capsule is made up of Bowman's capsule and glomerulus, which is a network, not like network of capillaries through which the blood is filtered. And nephric tubule is made up of proximal convoluted tubule, loop of Henle and distal convoluted tubule. Now Bowman's capsule, glomerulus, that is the Malpighian capsule, PCT and DCT are located in the cortex of the kidney, whereas the loop of Henle and the collecting ducts are located in the medulla of the kidney. So I think for today this much is enough. We will continue with the next topic, that is formation of urine by filtration of blood, the various steps involved in it, in the process of urine formation, on the next turn. Good luck till then.